It's Vloggy Poncho here, and it's another episode of What the Hell is Poncho Doing with His Life? That's what we should call this vlog. I'm pretty much convinced that'll be the perfect title. So, I just finished a glorious 3-day weekend, and that's the most exciting thing that's happened in my life in like a week. But then again, when is the weekend not the most exciting thing you do all week? I mean, it's a fair thing to say. It's pretty much a normal life, right? So, but interesting this week is that I've been spending a hell of a lot of time on OkCupid. And so far, results have been mixed. If you were in the stream the other day, you were there for my mini, not even a mini, like a micro drama that occurred in the comments I was having, the messages I was sending back and forth with a particular person. But so far, I've noticed that online dating is exactly what I thought it would be. Guys log on and send out a shit ton of messages to as many people as they can find, and the girls just sit back and go, I wonder what attractive man will message me today. It's total horseshit, and I hate it, and it's a bullshit system, and it's the only convenient option left to me right now. The whole problem, really, with the dating scene nowadays is that once you're out of college, you're shot out of luck. Like, dating a coworker is weird, so that's kind of out of bounds. And then you're not really going to have that many neighbors that are going to be your age. It's just unlikely if you're not living in a dorm anymore. It's like all of a sudden you can't find any young people wherever you go. And then if you're relying on random chance to like bump into somebody cool at the supermarket or the bowling alley, it's just so extremely unlikely to happen. It's like, good luck with that, right? But then you go into online dating and you think, oh, well, hey, I've got 50 different girls that I could potentially go on a date with. You send out 50 messages and you get one reply. It's like, fuck, what's the guy got to do? What does the guy got to do? Yeah, so far my response rate on sending out messages on OkCupid has been about 5%. I've sent out 20 messages, I got one reply. And it's just, I don't know. It makes me wonder, really. Some significant things. One of them is that, like, am I just lame? Is everything I say just so boring and trite that no one even feels obligated to give me a no in response? I think that it comes from a misunderstanding of women's situation on dating sites. They get so many scummy bullshit messages that they don't even bother to respond to most of the messages that they get. But at the same time, it seems inexcusably rude to send no reply whatsoever to a well-thought-out, well-intentioned message. If somebody sends you a message it's clear that they've read your profile and they've made a modicum of effort to understand who you are as a person and to engage you in meaningful conversation, and yet you ignore them completely and give them nothing in return, like, you're a bad person, you're a bitch. Like, that's... If somebody sends me a message, and it's clear that they've read my profile, and that they're interested in me, and whatever, like, even if they're the worst person in the world, I'm at least going to reply to them and say, I don't think it would work out, or I'm not interested in dating you, or whatever. I'm going to say no. I'm not going to say nothing. It's like, damn. I don't think there's any reasonable, practical quantity of messages that any normal girl would be getting that would excuse them from replying to everything they get. And that's just, I think it's horseshit that that's the situation that we're in. It's kind of like the dating scene if you go to a bar or something. The girls, and in fact, I think a reasonably large percentage of women that go to bars and nightclubs don't expect to pay for more than 1 or 2 drinks themselves. They expect that there's someone's going to be hitting on them, and is going to be buying them drinks, and dancing with them at the club, or whatever else. And I think that that's weird. It's like, so many different arguments with feminism and gender equality, it really comes down to the old saying, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Which is to say, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, I want to get paid the same amount for the same work, I want equal rights and equal respect, and then go to the nightclub, dressed like a slut, and expect people to buy things for you. It's like, if you're getting paid the same amount for the same jobs, you can buy your own damn drinks. But that's not how it is. I think that if every woman working a job right now was paid the exact same as their male counterpart, which is likely the case in most scenarios. They would still expect doors to be held and chairs to be pulled out and drinks and dinners and movies to be paid for by the male. And that's bullshit. I think that the entire dating system and the whole, what we call it, the whole courtship ritual that at least Americans have is just terrible. It's just a contest to see which guy can spend the most money and say the most obnoxious pickup lines, and that as the end result is not the ideal situation for either gender, because it's the asshole guys and the sluttiest girls that end up getting the most action, and when all the nice folks on the sidelines are just exactly that, on the sidelines. Nothing happened there. And people are going to say it's sour grapes. Like, oh, you're single. Of course you whinge and minge and binge and whine and grind about the dating scene. You're not dating anybody. Yeah, but the grass is always green on the other side, right? I mean, when dating somebody, you think it's great, and you think, oh, wouldn't it be nice to be free when you're single? No, it's not. It's better to be with someone than it is to be alone. And I would contend that from either side of the fence. So that's my attitude lately, is that whether it's a bar or a bowling alley or a dating site, it's the men who are expected to make the advances, it's the men who are expected to take the initiative, and et cetera, et cetera. And part of the reason, and basically that's the reason why I've been taking some interest in what I had previously considered to be an obnoxious, disrespectful method of being. You're probably familiar with the game, and I don't mean the thing that everyone laughs about in middle school where you think about it and you lose. Where the hell did that even come from? Does anybody know what that came from? Because I always hated it, thought it was stupid. But I'm talking about the book that some asshole wrote. That was basically 101 tips to getting women to sleep with you. And it basically instructs men to be as douchey as possible and just say obnoxious things, insult the girl they're trying to get with, make all her decisions for her, be as forceful as possible about sex, etc., etc., etc. And you read the guidelines for the game and having game and all that, and from an outsider's perspective, you think anybody who does these things is going to be perceived as just an asshole who's overly aggressive, overly sexual, disrespectful, just a douche. And then you look at the results and you think, you realize this shit actually works. Like, you go out and you treat women like shit and they want to sleep with you, and you think, it's like, as a nice guy on the sidelines, it's basically like, it's like sitting in an exam that you studied for really hard. You worked hard, you put in hours of time trying to like understand the concept and memorize the dates, and you really put effort into it. And then you get a C. You look across the classroom, and there's a group of douchebags cheating, and they're all getting B pluses, and you think, look, they're terrible people, and yet their strategy is working better than mine. It's extremely frustrating, and it makes you wonder, maybe I should just cheat next time. Maybe on the next exam, I should just hack into the system and get the answer key, or I should pay somebody from the previous year to give me their tests and copy all their answers down, because it gives you a better result. And so you end up with this moral conundrum between good means versus good ends. And the unfortunate situation seems to be that if you want women to think you're attractive, you have to be having bad means and good ends. Essentially becoming an asshole and using that nonsense in the game. And I gotta say, I'm not beyond it. My entire life, I've lived with what I thought was a good moral compass. I don't lie to people. I don't mislead people in any way. I don't even tell half-truths. I consider myself a good person. I try and do things that are going to benefit others rather than hurt them. I don't say insulting things without cause, and I don't do mean things for no reason. Basically, that's like the most basic rule: treat others like you want to be treated. Right? Don't be an asshole. And yet, when I go on subreddits like the Red Pill and Men's Rights and whatever else, I read about these stories and I think there's something to this. You know, maybe being a nice guy is not the way to do it. And it's concerning, it's worrisome, and it's confusing. And at this point, I'm on the fence between believing whether there's two outcomes, like either the red pill is right or the red pill is wrong. And people tend to have a very strong opinion about this kind of thing. If you've never heard of the subreddit, the red pill, just go on Reddit, reddit.com/r/theredpill, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Just look at the top posts all time. And people either think that they're evil, misogynist assholes, or they think they're gods on earth who finally figured out how women work. And depending on your experience in life, you could have reasonable evidence to believe either side. I think it's like a war. Each side believes wholeheartedly that they're correct, that they are the good guys. And each side wholeheartedly believes that their enemy is evil and wrong, when neither is likely entirely correct. And history shall judge one much more harshly than the other, likely the victor being judged more leniently. And that's just kind of the sad truth of life, that the victor is writing history. And when it comes to writing the history, it's only people who have kids and pass on those genes that are going to be writing history. And so at this point, the assholes are winning. And that's what I've been thinking about lately. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time on Let's Blog. There's no name for this. I'll see you next time.